minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank the witnesses for being here again. Minister Hagee, we're here on a Friday afternoon again. I think we did this not too long ago together. The study we're embarking on today as a committee obviously is in regards to the effects of housing shortages on Indigenous peoples. Over the past several months, the communities of Black Lake, Fond du Lac, and Pelican Narrows in my northern Saskatchewan riding have announced tuberculosis outbreaks. And Minister Hagee, you talked a little bit about that in your comments. We're talking about dozens of outbreaks and over 100 cases, and that's nearly double what it was a few years ago and much higher than it's been in over a decade. Rates of tuberculosis in Saskatchewan are continually above the national average, while in northern Saskatchewan, we make up 3.6% of the province population. But according to a study from 2021 that looked at the outbreaks of tuberculosis, it's responsible for half of the province's cases. The recently released departmental results report for Indigenous Services Canada for the years 2020 and 2021 admitted that the development of a tuberculosis reduction action plan for First Nations was not completed as planned. What's more concerning is that in the 2022-2023 departmental plan for ISC, I don't see any mention being made of any measures to prevent these outbreaks. I guess my questions are kind of threefold, and I'll throw them all out right away for Minister Hagee. Why is it that in a developed country like Canada in 2022, we continue to face tuberculosis outbreaks? What can I tell my constituents in northern Saskatchewan about when they can expect the government to release this action plan, and will it include targets? And finally, will this plan include some actual measures to deal with the overcrowded, unhealthy housing in these communities?
Well, thank you very much. And through the chair, I'm happy to say that I was in Saskatchewan, actually, I think it was last week, the week before last. Time takes on a new meaning in COVID. But just the last trip I took, I was actually in Saskatchewan, and I had a chance to meet with the FSIN and many other individual chiefs in the region. And we talked a lot about housing. As a matter of fact, in my opening remarks, I reflected on the leaders that have spoken to me about housing, and I was reflecting, and as I was saying those words, on the conversations I had specifically in Saskatchewan. As you know, Budget 2021, for example, commits $6 billion for infrastructure, including shovel-ready infrastructure projects and operations and maintenance costs, along with many other investments in First Nations health, including $5.5 billion, for example, to improve health outcomes through timely access and culturally appropriate medical care. You point out that housing is a critical ingredient to defeating infectious diseases like tuberculosis, and I would agree. I'd also say that we have to work more quickly on supporting, I would say, culturally appropriate medical care and access. Many of the First Nations leaders I spoke to on that trip talked to me quite eloquently, actually, about the exclusion they felt from appropriate medical care from the government of Saskatchewan, and spoke about the need for urgency in the co-developed health legislation and appropriate and culturally appropriate care that can be provided closer to home for people that are treating, in some cases, very difficult to treat illnesses like tuberculosis. So there's work on the housing front, on the social determinants of health, but also on the actual delivery of healthcare that, as you know, we deliver in partnership with provinces and territories.